Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to, I guess, Planet Coaster 2. We're here. Finally have moved on from Planet Coaster 1 and we're off to our first Planet Coaster 2 project. So I think for my first project, I wanted to go back to an old series that I did when I played, Planet Coaster 1, which was recreating one of my rides that I made when I was like 14. So here we are. So welcome to Merlin's Revenge. This is a ride that I made on Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 years ago. Same thing as before. I want to keep the essence of the original ride and recreate it in a sort of modern engine, because Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 looks like, blocks and polygons and whatnot, so we're going to definitely upgrade it. I also want to kind of upgrade the layout that I originally did and all that good stuff, so we have a pretty fun journey ahead of us. As you can see, the ride is very heavily based on the Incredible Hulk sort of layout, so we're going to be taking a lot of inspiration from that as well. Just going to be a fun long time lapse of us discussing this amazing ride, my thought process when I was 13, and a lot of other cool stuff. So yeah, I think the first thing we should do is watch this old video from years ago and see what we got to work with. Right, y'all ready for this cringe fest? Okay, that was my old YouTube channel name. What are we looking at? Presents. What is this? Come on. Alright. Merlin's Revenge, cool. Alright, let's check out this layout here. Oh my god, the music is awful. And these Windows Movie Maker like effects here, what was I thinking? Anyways, let's skip ahead a little bit. Alright, so what do we got? So we got a launch through a tunnel up into like a barrel roll, then we got a loop, then we got a cobra roll, and so I think honestly, not a bad layout. One thing I don't really like is you kind of jump into a brake run or a block section and then continue the layout. So I think that is something we're going to try and improve upon. I do want to build the castle where you kind of shoot out over the tube here. I think that's important as well. I also want to probably keep all of the elements that I have here, like all of the loops and the cobra rolls and the helix, I think. There's a lot here that I think that I want to maintain, but I also want to make more realistic because my 13, 14-year-old brain didn't really think ahead here. So let's see if we got a POV. I kind of want to see if we got a POV. All right, so yeah, so this launch area I think is going to be very similar to the Incredible Hulk, where we're going to shoot out of the tube here, and then so you shoot out the tube, kind of do our little barrel roll at the top, and then we could just kind of keep fast forwarding. But I think this is an overall good layout. I think there's a lot of improvements we can make, and I think this is kind of a good backbone. I'm kind of impressed with myself. I remember when this came out, I was pretty proud of myself. So anyways, I think we should start getting to building. So I'll see you guys there. All right, welcome everyone to the time lapse. So I guess here I'm just gonna kind of talk about this project as a whole and the challenges and my goals and whatnot. What inspired me to do this in the first place. So sit back and relax for the next couple of minutes and hopefully listen to my voice and enjoy this little spiel. So Merlin's Revenge. When I was, I don't know, maybe like 14, 13, like I mentioned before, I remember I saw like I was watching Travel Channel, and I remember seeing like them feature like Islands of Adventure or whatever, and I was so like impressed and like awestruck by like the Hulk coaster. I was like, this is crazy, this looks cool. Like, I don't know, the thought of like launching out of a tube and going through like that like barrel at the top, I thought was like really cool and insane. So ever since then, I've always wanted to like build that type of ride in one of my games, I guess. So so like I was like, I think it'd be cool if I build it out of a castle. So when it's Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 downloaded, I don't know, some like custom scenery set, built the castle, built the tube thing, and I was like, this is the most incredible thing I've ever made. looking back on it and looking back on that video we just watched, you know, I think that my knowledge of how like B&M roller coasters and just rides in general probably are, you know, the layouts are a little bit different. Like I really don't agree having a block section right after the main like Cobra roll and loop. So going into this project, I went back and watched a couple of POVs of the whole coaster. I also rode the whole coaster a couple of months ago, so it's still like a little bit fresh in my mind. Fun ride, really tense, a lot of forces, but yeah. So after doing that, I kind of was like, okay, so I'm going to modify my layout to be a little bit more in line with that. I would imagine, you know, B&M would have probably manufactured this ride, obviously. So I want to kind of keep their ticks in terms of how they create layouts in my head, you know. So this is me going through every single step, every single like loop, and trying to get the shape correct. I must say that Planet Coaster 2, like I don't know, the roller coaster building system is very similar to the first one. So it's very hard to get like smooth custom elements. There's a couple of like the like pre-made elements sometimes are pretty like easy to use, but sometimes they don't really align with how realistic things are. For example, when I was building the Cobra roll, I had to do everything kind of by hand and then go back and eventually like, you know, I was using like the 4-meter method, if anyone's familiar with that, where you kind of build the ride in segments of 4 meters and then go back and smooth over them a bunch of times. So I was trying to do that. I did that for the Cobra roll too at the top of the launch. So honestly, very difficult, but I think I have something, you know, decent. I'm not going for total realism smooth here. I'm honestly trying to incorporate like, you know, good scenery with a good layout, with, you know, a good sort of like, you know, park area. And maybe that kind of brings me to my other topic. Am I going to turn this into like a park? I don't know. I might. I kind of just want to see where this ride sort of goes before I, you know, fully commit to doing an entire park. Knowing my track record, I tend to start, you know, these little like Planet Coaster projects, and then they always turn into some kind of park where I just keep going and going and going and want to build more and more and more, and I don't know where to stop. That's actually kind of what happened with Lunar World, my other project that I've been releasing kind of like finalized videos for. And it just turned into like, this is too crazy, this is going too far. So we'll see. I think I could probably make I think I can make a good series out of building my old rides. You know, I've already started that. So we'll see. It might be, it might not be, but yeah, so this final sort of section of ride, I very much sort of like wanted to like, I guess, make it similar to how the Hulk was. You know, the whole coaster kind of runs into a loop and then a brake run and a couple of corkscrews. And then I know on my, you know, RCT3 13-year-old version, or, you know, when I was really young, when I did that, I remember, you know, it had similar things where I had like a helix and a corkscrew and whatnot. So that was, I mean, that's kind of what I saw in the video and wanted to sort of, I didn't want to put them in the same order. Obviously, I didn't think it would make sense or if it was realistic. I didn't want to make this like a 1-to-1. I think I wanted to improve upon it, like I had mentioned. So a lot of that is rearranging where the helix was and the loop was and the corkscrews and, you know, something that's more realistic to like what B&M would do. So it's kind of like you're adapting a book into a movie, I would say. Like the source material says one thing, but then, you know, in reality, it's going to be a little bit different. So yeah, that was kind of just my goal there. But I think, yeah, so, you know, this episode, I think the main goal was just to kind of get the layout, and that's kind of, I feel like what we have. I still have to do a lot of smoothing off screen, but, you know, I think we have a good starting point. I'm going to move on to actually like the castle and the theming and all that good stuff, probably in the next episode. I want to make this like a full sort of park area, like I said. So, you know, you'll see that in the coming episodes. Anyways, I am kind of getting to the end of the time lapse here. I have a little bit of B-roll raw footage for you at the end. So anyways, I'll see you guys in the next episode.